this week's main event. We are talking the greatest college football coaches of all time.
It's
And to
me.
be quite honest, as an Auburn fan, this is one of those that I hate to admit, but I've got to vote with my conscience here. I can't just leave some of these guys off because they truly are the greatest coaches. So you'll see me gritting my teeth on some of these along the way. That's all I'll say.
Well, Terry, let's be honest. Auburn had some decent coaches, but not apparently tenured enough to make the list. You put one on the list.
I put three on the list.
You put Pat Dye on the list.
I put Pat Dye, Mike Donahue, and Shug Jordan.
Okay. Terry put one Auburn coach on the list that I knew who the hell he was. That was Pat Dye. I don't know who the other ones are. But I also root for a university that had two coaches for a total of 35 years.
Right.
That won 5 national championships and 18 conference championships and ran the Big 8 against Oklahoma. So I don't know what that's like to have a lot of coaches until, 2000 and whatever, 7 or 8. So anyway, Terry, this is a great likeness of me. I want your view. I want you to explain to the listeners, though, why you think I would be a yeller as a head football coach.
I explained this to you in the comments. Why do you not think you're singing here? I think you're really belting it. You're so happy that your team's kicking ass, and you just wanted to belt out a song on the sidelines.
Oh, Teppy texted me, said we're having technical difficulties. Can you take a commercial break? It is Mississippi. What can they do? Yeah, usually it's me that's having technical difficulties on our end, but hopefully they
there were
can
a couple
join.
of moments one of us did. I don't know if it was you or me, but between the two of us.
It's definitely you because your screen froze.
Well, yours did too, but
I was alive and well, sir. Don't blame me.
I mean, you physically don't freeze when that happens.
This is correct. 2,097 options as head coaches on the list. That's not true. Terry put some good ones on here.
I put some you never heard of, but
yeah.
I did it based on an actual basis. I had a spreadsheet. I said anybody with 300 wins was going to be on the list. I don't care if they're Division III or not. And then I went through and I had some other criteria.
Well, the greatest college football coach of all time only had 255 wins, but he did it faster than anybody. And he won 3 national championships.
So we know who that he voted. He voted number 1.
Real men go for 2. I'll explain in a minute. Because he better be on this list or I'll be highly offended.
Well, let's see who missed the list, who just missed the list. Frank Leahy, John McKay, Urban Meyer, and Dabo Swinney. You like the picture of Dabo that I put on here?
Yeah, Urban Meyer, Dabo's still coaching. So that was another thing. We did put a couple active coaches on the list. I know that Kirby's on the list. Dabo's on the list. I find that interesting that our voters did not put Urban on the list. From Bowling Green to undefeated Utah to Florida, 2-time national champion with the Criminals and Pastor Tebow, and then on to Ohio State.
Well, here's another one. Since you said Ohio State, I'm going to go ahead and spoil this. Jim Tressel didn't even make the just missed the list part.
The Senator did not make the list, even though he had the 3 championships in Division III plus the one at Ohio State in 2002.
Right. And then Frank Leahy, Notre Dame. He played tackle at Notre Dame, coached at Notre Dame, 4 national championships. So if you don't know who he is, that's who he is.
But he was early, right? 60s, 70s?
He was, I wanted to make sure, in the 40s.
40s, rather, yeah. So he's the World War II Notre Dame national championships, or just post-World War II. And then John McKay is obviously, Tennessee or Texas?
Texas.
I actually don't know him, but...
So, yeah, let me run down. I meant to look up some of this, but I'll look up some of it a little bit.
Dabo's got championships in 16 and 18. He slayed the mighty Alabama. He had the good fortune of having 2 very good
USC
football coaches.
I knew I was wrong. Yeah, McKay is USC. He he was USC from 59 to 75 and had 4 national championships at USC. So anybody
Wow.
that was a USC fan screaming at me when I said that, I'm sorry. But
Yeah,
the
I
orange
don't.
did confuse it was a little bit confusing.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know John McKay, and I guess it's just because he's just outside the window. But obviously, USC has a ton of national championships. Again, Urban surprises me. Dabo's still writing his story. We'll see how that goes. But Terry, you're going to click the button since you're playing producer tonight. Who's number 10 on the list? The greatest football coaches of all time.
This one's a little bit of a shocker he made the top 10. Bernie Bierman from Minnesota.
Okay, so the 1930s championships.
Yeah, so 5 national championships in the 30s and the beginning of the 40s.
Yeah,
for
no, who
Minnesota.
gives a shit? Move on. Number 9.
Number 9, Kirby Smart.
Yeah.
Makes the top 10.
Now, hard to argue with Kirby Smart. I mean, obviously, just won his first or second SEC championship, maybe third, but he's never beat Alabama in the SEC title till yesterday. 2-time national champion, produces big NFL guys, probably Nick Saban's greatest disciple and pupil, and is starting to write his own story. I mean, what's his win-loss percentage at Georgia, Terry? 80%? He's probably 80 or 85%
It's
at
way up
Georgia.
there. He has lost very few games. I think he's lost 20 games total, and that includes the
And
first
his
years
first
he was
couple
there.
years weren't his first couple
Right.
years were
It
not
took him
great.
a couple of years to really
Yeah.
because I remember here's the sad part. I'll see Facebook memories and I'll see commenting on Kirby Smart. Maybe he's not as good as we thought he was or something like that. I'm like, damn it, I just set myself up, didn't I?
Yeah, because let's face it, 2-time national champion, beat Alabama. Kirby Smart's win-loss record at Georgia is 116-20 with 2 national championships. And that's in
Right.
10 seasons, 85%. He's got the multiple SEC championships, of course, the Eastern title. Smart is still writing his story. He's 50 years old. 50.
Yeah.
This guy could move up a list if we did it 5 years from now, just based on, the consistency of the Georgia Bulldog football team. But great running backs, good defense, always aggressive. And the dude's a character. Like
Yeah.
That's
why I picked a picture of him sticking his tongue out here.
If you listen to his halftime speeches, he talks about how the dogs are going to fucking eat and they're going to run through walls. And I mean, his wife gets on him for his language and everything else. But Kirby Smart is a football guy. We talk about Golich. All I know is ball. I think that's probably Kirby Smart. This is what he does. Eats, sleeps, and breathes football. And he played safety at Georgia. He's back at his alma mater. And it doesn't always work out, as you know, Terry. Going back to your alma mater to be the head football coach does not always work out.
It doesn't.
Because
And
expectations are so high,
right.
and Georgia, in their mind, has had bad seasons. Oh, you won 12 games and you didn't win the championship, so you've had a bad season at Georgia, I mean,
Right.
What do you do there?
And that's the interesting thing. You talk about going to your alma mater doesn't always work out. Some of the bigger names just related to Auburn. So Vince Dooley, big time name at Georgia. He was a quarterback at Auburn. Pat Dye played at Georgia, coached at Alabama under Bear Bryant, became one of the best coaches in Auburn history. So they coached and became part of the legend of their rivals. And that is very interesting. You got Dabo Swinney, an Alabama guy. He's made his
Yep.
whole career at Clemson.
To the point he's such an Alabama guy, they have a no Alabama clause in his contract.
Right.
Which is crazy. But what's number 8?
Knute Rockne. Another Notre Dame guy, 3 national championships in the 20s and 1930.
Okay.
You're not impressed with the older guys, huh?
I'm not
the black and
impressed with
white
anything below modern college football. No. does not impress me. Congratulations, Notre Dame. We must have some Notre Dame homers voting for our on our poll.
What we don't seem to have is a lot of Ohio State folks because Urban
Oh,
Meyer did not make the top 10 and Jim Tressel did not make the top 15.
Woody Hayes, who knows? Number 7, Terry,
Number 7, Lou Holtz.
another Notre Dame guy, but
And
also
really, I was a little
Carolina.
surprised he's so high, but people know him
Yeah,
and they've watched him on TV and they like his personality. And I think that's why he ends up here because I don't think, based on his resume, he is the number 7.
no, 100 wins at Notre Dame. I know
One
it's
national
over
championship.
one national
1988.
champ, 88 or 89, I was going to say.
Yeah.
Is in between the Miami championships. And, Holtz, he caught lightning in a bottle that season, but he's
Yeah.
coached at South Carolina. He's coached at Arkansas, I think it was.
Yeah. Arkansas.
And he is a mediocre football coach that won a national championship. There are several of them. He happens to be one of them. GOAT status, not Lou Holtz. As entertaining as he is making fun of Ryan Day and Ohio State, that's he's great at. College football, greatest of all time, does not belong on this list. Let's go to number 6 before I lose my shit.
Number 6, Barry Switzer from Oklahoma.
Yeah, let's go for some Sooner magic. The wishbone, Nebraska versus Oklahoma, Thanksgiving Day, the real game. Fuck all you Ohio State, Michigan people. It was Oklahoma, Nebraska before it was Ohio State, Michigan, and I'll stand on business on that because that game determined for 25 years who was going to the Orange Bowl to face one of the teams, Miami or Florida State, most often. So Switzer, also a criminal, and one of only 3, fun fact for all of you out there, one of only 3 coaches in history to win both the NCAA championship as well as an NFL championship. Switzer did it with the Dallas Cowboys, Pete Carroll, USC, and the Seahawks, and of course, Jimmy Johnson with Miami and the Dallas Cowboys. Only 3 have ever won both, and Switzer is one of them. Now, I will argue for all you Cowboys fans out there, he did it with Jimmy Johnson's football team, but in 1995, 96 rather. He did it with Jimmy Johnson's football team, but he did win the world championship. But yeah, Switzer could have shot somebody in Main Street in Norman, Terry, and they would have renewed his contract. And they could have had him guilty. Yeah, but that was how good he was and how important he was. And they ran the wishbone, which was the counter to the option that Osborne ran for so long. And you talk about some fun games. Go back and watch Nebraska, Oklahoma. You talk about some old school run the ball, trick plays, special teams, defenses coming up with a stop. Every down matters football games, like what we saw last night against Indiana, Ohio State. That's what it was. Anyway.
Very decorated program, and Barry Switzer is a huge part of that.
Yep.
Number 5, here we go. Woody Hayes, the Ohio State representative in the top 10 here. Woody Hayes, 5 national championships between 1954 and 1970.
Yeah, and really put Ohio State on the map as far as their where they are now in a football program. And I think Urban's probably a better X's and O's football coach than he was, but according to our voters, he's number 5. So, I won't get hung up on Ohio State for too long here.
I think national championship numbers really, for those that may not know all the good Lord, Dave. Sorry. Dave's bringing in the Freebird. He found a way to bring the Freebirds into the conversation.
WCCW somehow had to make the conversation, didn't it? Good Lord.
But I think the national championship numbers, and there are some ridiculous, like you said, there are some pretty ridiculous national championship numbers from long, long ago that are like, but what sport were you even playing?
Yeah.
Now, Woody Hayes is not that old, but 5 national championships for Ohio State over his tenure.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I'm not opposed to Woody Hayes being on this list at all by any means.
Right. And he belongs here. Yeah. I'm a little surprised the other two weren't higher.
Mhm.
Number 4, Tom Osborne.
Y'all wrong for this. This is number one. This is number one. The man behind me right here, that's the Oklahoma game, 1997. Nebraska wins 60 whatever to 7. That's win number 250. He did it faster than everybody. 25 winning seasons, 12 and 13 in bowl games, 3 and 3 in national championship games. Last 5 seasons went 60 and 3. Tom Osborne. I know there's one guy better than him, but I don't believe there's 2 or 3. Tom Osborne established the idea of building a program in college football. He's the one who created the walk-on program. You don't get a scholarship, but you walk on. You earn your right to play. You're going to sit as a freshman and a sophomore. You're going to play as a junior and a senior, unless your name is Amon Green, and then you're going to play. But Tom Osborne built the program where you have red shirts. Then you have 2 years and 3 years of sitting behind the guy in front of you to learn. He built the pipeline. Offensive linemen that are 300 pounds that run sub 540s. He built the idea of a rushing attack with a power I formation. He's the reason that Bob Devaney won 2 national championships in 1970 and 71. Tom Osborne is the reason that there was a scholarship rule change. And Osborne is a guy who fundamentally taught football, and he was a coach's coach. He did not rely on the program. He relied on the coach. Tom Osborne was the offensive coordinator of the Nebraska Cornhuskers from 1968 till he retired in 1997. As the head football coach, he called every play. Every single play Tom Osborne called that won and lost national championships. And the last reason that Tom Osborne is number one, in 1983, Nebraska has the greatest offense ever assembled up to that time in the scoring explosion, led by Turner Gill and Mike Rozier. Had some guy named Roger Craig on the football team. He went to San Francisco, won a couple championships. Maybe you guys have heard of him. That team goes and plays number 5 Miami in the Orange Bowl. A couple of other teams had lost along the way. Nebraska storms back and loses the game 31-30 because instead of kicking a PAT and tying the game and winning a national championship on a tie, because remember, Nebraska was number 1 and there was no overtime at the time, he went for 2. Nebraska loses 30-31, and Miami wins their first of 4 national championships in the 1980s. Real men go for 2. Tom Osborne.
And I'll just say,
and the things that he did, all these other schools have carried on 30 and 40 years later.
And you said it, Miami was number 5. Auburn was number 3 and won their football game. I'm just going to point out the facts there, and we'll stick with that, and we'll move on.
Yeah, well, your Auburn championship, one of them, well, actually, it was Clemson. It wasn't Auburn. I was going to say Clemson stole a national championship from Nebraska in 1980 with Danny Ford. But
I'm also a proponent of, I hate the NCAA and their lack of a spine. So I am for any school claiming any national championship they want to, just to show how stupid the NCAA is. But anyway, Here we go. Number 3, Bobby Bowden.
Mm-hmm.
This is probably the one that you didn't think of that was ahead.
No. I mean, they had 14 consecutive top 5 finishes, but right. Bowden only won 2 national titles, 1993 and 1999. And in 1993, he stole it from Nebraska, but they also
Auburn claims that one too.
They were also their own
undoing.
Bowden. Yeah, they were also their own undoing in that they kicked the ball out of bounds at the 40 after a field goal, and they're up 16-15 and lose the game 18-16 in 1993. But Bobby Bowden did provide Nebraska with the greatest inspiration of all time and unfinished business. But yeah, it's hard to argue that Bobby Bowden isn't on this list up there. And obviously it's Bear Bryant and then Nick Saban now that I think about it. But that's bullshit too, because Bear couldn't have outcoached Osborne, and we'll get there in a second. And the fact that Devaney didn't make this list, and I'm going to talk to you about 71 in a second when you get to Bear Bryant there, Terry. But 14 consecutive top 5 finishes for Bobby Bowden. And could have gone back-to-back 99, 2000, but in 2000 they ran into the Oklahoma Sooners. Bob Stoops is not on this list.
Yeah.
Played in 4 national championship games, 750 or 800 win-loss record at Oklahoma, 1 national championship in his second year. But Bowden took forever to win a national championship. It took him to 93. And in that 93 game, they were a 17-point favorite to beat Nebraska, and they beat him 18-16. Because they overlooked the defense of Nebraska. And then 99, obviously, they ran into Michael Vick and Virginia Tech, Frank Beamer, but they just outlasted them in the fourth quarter of that national championship game.
And Paterno's not on here. We discussed that a little bit before we started recording. I guess it was before we started recording that, Paterno for a long time toward the end of his career just kind of set up in the booth and didn't even stay up there for the whole game. So I don't know if we got any Penn State fans. I know that we have some people that watch us that hate Penn State.
Right.
Bober's not here tonight, but I did get in an argument with a guy at work over that because he was a Penn State alum.
Yeah, 416 wins for Joe Paterno, 2 national championships. But at the end of the day, Paterno didn't coach for the last 20 years of his head coaching tenure at Penn State. Nobody will ever convince me otherwise. So let's go on and get to Bear Bryant at number 2.
Number 2, Bear Bryant.
That's bullshit, but that's okay. Bear Bryant, one of the Devaney's last games. Actually, it was the second national championship season. Alabama, the mighty Alabama, takes on the Nebraska Cornhuskers, 1971 for the 71 championship. I guess it was 72, but anyway, it was a Sugar Bowl, I think. Nebraska beats them 35-6. Bob Devaney secures national championship number 2. Bob Devaney also secures victories over number 2, 3, and 4 that year to become national champions as number 1. So Nebraska in 1971 beat the numbers 2, 3, and 4 teams at the end of the season, including Alabama.
So Bear Bryant, 6 national championships between 1961 and 1979, and won one as a player in 1934.
Yeah, I mean, I can joke and mess around with Bear Bryant, but it's, at that point too, you're getting into the generations of football, Terry, where Osborne and Bowden are far more contemporaries than Osborne, Bowden, and Bryant. Bryant was coaching football during a much different
rules were
era.
way different. I mean, you could stockpile talent and just not play guys.
Yeah.
And this was the very reason that Georgia Tech left the Southeastern Conference, was because their coach complained and said, we need to change some of the rules, and they refused to do it. So Georgia Tech left the conference. Well, guess what? All those rules that he wanted to be in place, they're in place now and beyond that.
Yeah. And like I said, it's just a different era of football. It's like I jokingly, we laughed about the Notre Dame coach and the Minnesota coach.
Right.
Okay. Football was much different in 1937, 8, and 9, and yes, Dave, we're getting to 7 national championship winning Nick Saban. And there's no reason he's not number 1 on the list, but
he is. There he is holding the crystal football there.
And it's amazing about Nick Saban. And if you guys have been longtime listeners of this show, you've heard me and Terry very respectfully talk about Nick Saban. Even Terry is an Auburn fan. Me as a fan of Nick Saban, because he reminds me so much of what Coach Tom Osborne did at Nebraska. Heavy run defenses, good defenses, play special teams that don't make tons of mistakes, except for that kick 6. Let's not talk about that, Terry. The kick 6 in the Iron Bowl. But they didn't make a lot of mistakes under Saban. They played disciplined football. The man coached 17 years at Alabama, and they lost 29 games. 29 games. And a couple of those were national championship games that he lost.
Right.
But make no mistake about it, like Bear Bryant, who went from Kentucky to Alabama, and it took the leap for him to become the big gun. Saban's leap was from Michigan State as a mediocre 600 coach to LSU. And LSU is what put Nick Saban on the map.
Right.
Not his tenure at Michigan State, not his tenure with the Cleveland Browns, and certainly not his tenure with the Miami Dolphins. But Terry, you and I've talked about it. We had a whole Saban show for anybody that wants to go back and listen to the archives. And this isn't to
I don't
be
know what
dismissive.
episode it was. It was the first episode we ever did after football season. Whenever.
Yeah, they're bullshit though, Dave, because Tom Osborne's number one, not Nick Saban. But that's because I grew up as a Tom Osborne guy. Anyway, with Saban though, we talked about this on his show, on the show. When you win 10 SEC championships at Alabama, and then he won the 2 at LSU, you win 7 national titles. Every class that he had at Alabama won a national championship if they were there for 4 years. Every single class he had won a national championship. They did not, and Terry hates this as an Auburn guy, but nobody wanted to see Nick Saban on the sideline because he was worth 14 points. His presence on the other side of the field was an automatic 14 points.
You know what's interesting, and just in comparison's sake, we've had the debate about Alabama being in the playoff or not. I was really surprised. Mark Ingram, there's not a former Alabama player that's got more Alabama in them than Mark Ingram. He was arguing against Alabama making the playoff yesterday, with Urban Meyer arguing that they should be in it. And I thought that was shocking to me because I never expected that from Ingram.
Mm-hmm.
Because
the only one that maybe more Alabama than him is AJ McCarron. Maybe.
We'll see if he wins his election.
Yeah. But this is the thing too. Saban, has kind of set the standard. Football has changed. The way you're supposed to play defense has changed. Hitting the quarterback has changed. He managed to make it through all those changes. What he didn't survive was the NIL. So Saban probably could have coached another 5 or 10 years, and God knows how many national championships Alabama could have. Georgia wouldn't have beat him yesterday. Georgia can't beat Alabama in the SEC title game if Nick Saban's the head football coach. Does not happen, will not happen. Yeah, I had Bowden at 3 and Switzer at 4, Dave. Also, just to mention, Terry, Steve Spurrier did not make this list, and he was my number 5.
Yeah.
Pretty tough crowd, but some of it's because you guys voted on who won national championships.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like I didn't have enough room to put really, because there's a lot of different stats that could have been put with them, because I wanted to put something just to be informative, but I couldn't really put, I guess I put the number of wins and the number of national championships. Because Spurrier wasn't winning a bunch of national championships, but he won a bunch of SEC championships.
Yeah, they won 4 consecutive SEC championships from 1993 to 1996.
Yeah. So when you just look at the stats that I showed, they don't look all that impressive, but Florida was the SEC at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it was big in '92 when Alabama beat them unexpectedly and won the national championship.
And then Gene Stallings won a national title against Miami.
Right.
So, but yeah, no, Saban number 1. Obviously, I think Osborne at 4 is way too low. But I mean, if he's going to get beat by Bowden and Bryant, I'm okay with it. There are names that surprised me that did not make this list, and Steve Spurrier is one of them.
Well, and Lou Holt's a little bit high here, like we said.
I mean, Lou Holt's on this list. Steve Spurrier's not. Urban Meyer's not. Frank
and probably
Beamer.
Kirby Smart and Bernie Bierman. I'm surprised who's voting for this old Minnesota guy. I don't know, but we've got a lot of different people voting on this. We really appreciate Your perspective, let me run it down. Number 10, Bernie Bierman. Number 9, Kirby Smart. Number 8, Newt Rockney. Number 7, Lou Holtz. Number 6, Barry Switzer. Number 5, Woody Hayes. Number 4, Tom Osborne. Number 3, Bobby Bowden. Number 2, Bear Bryant. And number 1, no big shocker, Nick Saban.
And did you notice, Terry, despite the fact they have all the national championships and the victories and the swagger, there's not one Miami coach on this list. No Jimmy Johnson, no Larry Coker, no Dennis what's his face?
Erickson.
Or Erickson, yeah, that Nebraska beat in the 90s.
Yep.
I mean, that they didn't make the list. Wonder why.
Nobody likes Miami. That's why.